Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful day with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. This has been Astrology Week, no question about it. And I have a dynamic astrologer, as you see on the screen, Brother Hood Mystic, a man that's just as extraordinary as my guest that I had on Monday, Dominic Holmes. In fact, they both live in the same town, the same network. So anyway, I'm going to be bringing him on. This week's show is being brought to you by STS, the Sisters of the Traveling Spread, for an event that's going to be in August in New Orleans. As you see, there is Aquarius Maximus, Nina Diamond, Jazz Aphrodite, then King Simon, and myself. And in fact, they will be on a week from today on the 19th. So earmark that. And also, support and backup from my brother too, King Simon, who is one of the best. And before we start, let me give you the forecast for today. And and I tell you, I said myself, I promised I would remind myself to please like, share, and subscribe. Okay, I always forget that, but anyway, it is Wednesday, the 12th of April, 2023. The sun is in Aries, the moon is in Scorpio. It's 11 universal day, a 4 universal week, a 5 universal day, and Virgos, which is the sign of my guest, believe it or not, then Gemini, then Pisces, Sagittarius, or if they're born on the 3rd, 5th, the 12th, the 14th, the 21st, the 23rd, or the 30th of the month, well, this is for you. So let me do this. Let me remove this out the way. Okay, here we go. There we go. How you doing, everybody? Thank you for joining us. We're going to be doing readings today, too, astrologically. My guest is going to be talking about some of the planetary arrangements that may be affecting this country. We did it exclusively on Monday because there was so much, but we're going to touch on that a little bit, but we're also going to get into the astrological readings. And while he's calibrating, I will kind of put my little 2 cents in while he's getting it together. So it's going to be teamwork. That's how we're going to roll with this today. And so without further ado, let me bring on my man, Hood Mystic. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. Hey, Lloyd, can I just say one thing?
Yes, sir.
I just want to, thank you for being an inspiration and a motivation for me and my family for doing what you do and, showing the love that you do. I just want to let it be known to you that I appreciate you so much, man. I'm so grateful for you.
You sound like my buddy King Simon. Very embarrassing, but I accept it. By the time King Simon finished introducing me, it's like, just call me Lloyd, okay? How you been, man?
I've been wonderful, man. It's just amazing, man. Just feeling the
As you
energy.
and I know, Mercury goes retrograde by the end of the week on the
Mhm.
21st. Then Pluto goes retrograde on May the 1st. Saturn goes retrograde on June the 17th. Neptune goes retrograde on the 30th. Venus goes retrograde on July 22nd. Uranus goes retrograde on August 28th. And Jupiter, and all these are the slower moving planets we talked about too, in
Mhm.
fact, goes retrograde on September 4th.
Mm.
So there'll be a point during the summer where at least 4 out of 6 of these planets will be retrograde at the same time. What
Mhm.
does that mean to you as an astrologer, sir?
As an astrologer, that means that those energies are intensified. And when you talk about Pluto and you talk about Mercury, Mercury is a major planet for us. As much as we worry about the sun and the moon, being on this planet, we need to pay attention to Mercury and its retrograde cycles. It was a time where the zeitgeist or the collective thought, they didn't know about a Mercury retrograde, but as of today, we have a strong grasping of it and an understanding of it because it matters.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you are talking right now, so if Mercury wasn't in our favor, it would be static, and my screen would black out. All types of crazy stuff, and me and you wouldn't be able to communicate, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
that would be a disservice to the people. So Mercury has to be in your favor, especially if you're moving and shaking. And so now we're going through a Mercury retrograde shadow right now as well. So we're feeling the energy now. So it's leading up to it. So all of these planets are closer, right? So
Mhm.
it feels like a lot of energy, but as an astrologer, you got to look at the different planets, get an individual understanding, and then put it all together so you can get a larger understanding. So that's how I would look at it.
Okay, good. How does this relate to the United States? Just touch on it a bit, and then we'll get right into
Sh-
uh, our uh, our viewers.
Sure, sure. Well, for melanated people in America, it's very important for us because these people came here in 1492. And from that point, they've been telling us who we are and where we came from and what we should do and what we shouldn't do. But that's not the actual truth. So it's a lot of people who have been taught false lies about our history.
Yeah,
So when we come to the spiritual understanding of Pluto moving into a different sign, it's very important that we first realize that we don't know who we are, and secondly realize that we need to find that within ourselves because we've been lied to by this country. So what this country looks like is, oh, it's going down and it's so scary, but we as melanated people are not a part of this country, right? We are part of the earth, we are a part of the land, we are a part of the air, the nature. And so it's very important for us to understand that about ourselves and not attach ourselves to, they say United States is a corporation, Lloyd,
yeah, yeah. The United
It-
States of the U.S., the INC.
yeah.
But did this.
Hmm.
Every now and then it needs to be reminded that we were not slaves. We were
Exactly.
enslaved. We were
Exactly.
enslaved.
Exactly.
Okay,
Very
there's a
important.
whole different ball game. So they
Hmm.
want to teach the notion that we were slaves. No, we were enslaved
Hmm.
and brought here in chain against resistance across the Atlantic Ocean. About 100 million of us died in the passage and whatnot. So
Hmm.
that needs to be clear, at least for my viewers.
Yeah,
Okay, we were enslaved, not slaves.
that wasn't our story. Our story did not begin in antebellum slavery,
No,
right?
no,
That is
no, no,
so
no.
when you look at Pluto retrograde, I mean Pluto return and Pluto retrograde and Pluto switching signs, it is the inception point of who we are as spiritual beings, our spiritual power being given to us again. Now, if we look at the country and we associate ourselves with the country and whatever the country is going through, we might feel like we fallen, but if we associate ourselves with the cosmos, with the stars, then it's clear to see that we are rising, that we are changing, that we are transforming into our original state. And one more thing, it's very important for us to learn how to work with one another. Whatever they sold us about we can do it by ourselves and you don't need nobody and you don't need no man and you don't need no woman and you don't need no family was a lie. So the quicker that you could diet that out of your system and learn how to work with your brother and your sister and your community, because that's what we need. Because if the country, quote unquote, falls, we need to learn how to rely on one another. And in that case, we don't have to worry and struggle and be in fearful state because the people that are around us have our backs. And if we don't put ourselves in that position, it might look doom and gloom. Does that make sense?
It makes all the sense in the world. And actually, perhaps this kind of decline might be a blessing for us in disguise, actually.
It's good to look at it like that.
Yeah.
Because we are a part of the universal creator, so we can't fall into the propaganda of being weak or being subjugated or all of these, you know victimized mentalities. Even though we've experienced some negative things, the reality is that we are just in a process of transformation. So transformation is a seed. That's what Pluto represents, a
I was
seed.
going to say, yeah, yeah.
you know
And it's in the sign of Aquarius, too. And
right.
that's a revolutionary planet with a revolutionary sign.
Right. And this is the mindset. Like we could enact so much great change. One, we can't do it by ourselves though. We got to know what we stand for and who we're standing with. And this takes a lot of skills, right? This takes a lot of learning and education, and people get you mad, and you want to cut people off, and that's the normal way that we treat in our brothers and sisters. But that shouldn't be our inception at this point in time. Our inception, even if you've had poor people's skills, you isolate it. When we talk about ancestral, when we talk about a seed, we're saying from this small spot, it is going to grow to this. So
Mm-hmm.
I would never say my seed is going to birth to me being alone.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say
That
this seed is going to birth into an Aquarian theme
a
of
collective.
a collective, your
Yeah,
11th house, your social standing, right? People around you. Even though you might not know what that looks like right now, it's okay to start to think about it. This is what Pluto represents in the beginning stages of a sign. It is the root seed and the root intention of what do you want it to become. 2008, from 2023, Pluto was in Capricorn. And if you notice, we have went through a complete and utter spiritual revolution. It's people in that, I know you met people who never even thought that they would be in the spiritual community or learning about numerology, but here they are
that's
because
true.
Pluto is talking about getting in tune with your higher self. I was before 2008, I thought I would be a truck driver for the rest of my life. I did not know.
Seriously?
Yeah, I did not know that this side of me existed, at all. But from 2008 to 2023, it was a massive change in spiritual development and spiritual understanding.
So with Pluto now going into Aquarius from Capricorn, what does that mean moving forward over the next several years?
It looks scary when you're thinking of it, when you isolate it and you by yourself and you don't know how to work with people, right? It's beautiful if you can learn, if you could begin to adjust, change your mindset, motivate people. Maybe it calls you to be a leader. Maybe you have to read books, go deep within yourself. How do I organize people? How do I bring people together? How do I become a part of something larger than myself? And if you begin to think with this ideology, you'll be a part of something in the next 23 years, or I'm sorry, the next 13 years, you'll see life move extremely tribal, extremely tribal. So this might be horrible to the person who just wants to be alone.
So in
Right?
our condition, present conditions, what is about to happen will probably be, metaphysically speaking, a blessing in disguise.
Correct.
Because
Correct.
the
Is
whole
how we looking at it.
projection, because the whole projection is I don't need you, you don't need me. And I will say on my show anyway, I can't do without a woman, and I
I
hope a
can't.
woman can't do without a man. And if so, all these single mothers with babies, how did y'all get them babies without a man being involved? I mean, can I ask a little common sense question up in there? So,
Hmm.
and it used to be a time in the case of our parents and grandparents, if a woman got pregnant, you was definitely going down the altar with that woman.
Hmm.
It also used to be, I would hear women at that time around my grandmother's and mother's age that they don't want to die alone. The
Hmm.
way it is projected, as Kevin Samuel used to say,
Hmm.
women are going to wind up dying alone.
Hmm.
And so, what I'm saying is, we all need to kind of reevaluate. And perhaps Pluto is going to bring about that transformation too,
Hmm.
in this
Yeah.
that consciousness.
Yeah, it's a consciousness, and a lot of it is we have to trust the process because even from 2008 to 2023, we didn't know what it would look like when we begin to integrate our spiritual selves into our normal lives. We didn't know a lot of people have started businesses, careers, and never look back because they've integrated their higher self in their normal everyday life. So as we talk about being in tribes, it's so weird, right? It's so foreign
And
to
they
us.
use that term a lot nowadays, tribal, the
And they
tribe.
do.
Even the politicians use it.
It's a normal word, but think about how normal it was for us for millions of years to
Yeah,
be a part
yeah,
of tribes. So it's
yeah.
not that foreign to us. It's only this little bit of time where we've been in our studio apartments and things of that nature. It hasn't been a long time that we've existed like that. So think of it more of a natural uh, regression to the mean of what it means to be a human being on Earth. Right? The totality of our existence has been tribal. So
Yeah.
this little blip in time, it can't sustain itself because I would read diaries of women when I was a little child, and like like my grandmas, my aunts, and that was the main thing. I do not want to be alone. Like that
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
thing that was
yeah,
on their hearts. And
yeah, yeah. I would hear
nowadays
that a
it's
lot.
normal.
And now and then they found statistically that often a lot of the men who are now in prison, it seems to have no father in the home.
Correct.
The amount of juvenile delinquency, no father in the home.
Correct.
Suicides, no father in the home. Rape, no suicides, no father in the home.
Correct.
Almost all of the antisocial things that our young men are doing, there is one ingredient, ladies. There
Yeah.
has been no father in the home.
Right.
And that should say something. So it doesn't make sense us giving birth, especially to boys, ladies, and then not saying you need a man. And what is being prepared is them for prison or
Yeah.
anything negative. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is this whole Kool-Aid we've been drinking, it needs to be seriously diluted. Too much sugars in it.
For
All righty.
sure.
Okay. Now, anything else before we go to readings?
One quick thing, when we are raised under our mom and we're boys, the problem is we handle our problems emotionally. And what a man would teach you is that you don't handle your problems emotionally, because you could really hurt somebody and you could really be in situations that you can't come back from. So a lot of men are in jail because their emotions got the best of them. They
Yep.
really hurt somebody
Yep.
and they
Yep.
can't take it back. So a man thinks about things logically, cool, and smoothly. And as little boys, we have to learn that from our fathers. And if we don't, we're generally it's kind of like we're on this path to prison. And it's so sad. I just wanted to put that out there.
And it's more by design than organically. I'll put it
Hmm.
like that too. All
Hmm.
right. So I'll leave it at that. So, buddy, we're gonna have some fun. Now, what happens if people don't know their exact time, Hood Mystic? What do we
If
do?
they don't know their exact birth time, we're going to look at it holistically, and we'll figure it out, right? Because there's nothing we can do. It's like if you don't know your birthday and you want me to read your chart, it's going to be really, really hard for me to read your chart if you don't know your birthday.
Hold it. You
Yeah.
mean there are actually
Yeah.
people that you've met that did not know their birthday?
Yeah, orphans, people that don't know
Oh,
their parents, and they
okay.
want a birth chart reading, but they have
Mm-hmm.
no idea when they were born.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of hard. It's kind of like a prerequisite. It's kind of like money. Time is money. That's what
Yeah.
they say. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, yeah, it's very important to know your birthday, and if you don't, try to find it, because there's no real workaround. If you want to get a reading from me, there is a way that I could work around it by figuring out a part of your body that hurts. Because astrology is related to the body, but
And number two.
that takes a
Yep.
longer time to develop. So if you don't know your birth time and you want a birth chart reading, we could definitely work around it. It just wouldn't be a cool thing to do during a live broadcast because it take me
Well,
about 10 minutes to figure it out.
you know what's interesting is in the early 1900s and 20s, Evangeline Adams, the famous astrologer at that time, who was in Aquarius, February the 8th, she would do Horary astrology, which
Mhm.
means she wouldn't focus on the birthday of the person. She would focus on the hour in which you came and sat in front of her, and in that alignment would figure out the chart there. So
Mhm.
there's all kinds of techniques in this,
Yeah.
which is why astrology is deep, deep, deep. Okay.
Even some people say they don't do your birth date, they do the time for which you were conceived. Like that's your real. I mean,
Now that's getting
it's
into the weeds. Okay,
yeah,
that's getting all
it's
into people's
there's a
business.
thousand different forms of astrology out here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
have fun with it.
Okay, so and we're gonna have fun. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna tag team this puppy,
For
okay?
sure.
And so we're gonna do yes, and we're gonna get all to you. I'm gonna just back up a second. All right. The first one out the gate, I see. No, let me go back a little bit. Wow, a lot of people born. Thank you all very much. And by the way, thank you for reminding people to share, like, subscribe, because I forget. Okay. So obviously that's not where my focus is. Those are
For
nice
sure.
for people in the media thing. Mine is to raise people's consciousness. That's exactly where my head is at. Now, what happens? I see one that has it where she just gave. Wow. Okay. Now we can start. All right. Now we're going to take Yvette Wilkins. She is born on November the 9th, 1964. So at least you can determine where her moon is at that time or things like that, even if not her ascendant. But while
Correct.
you're looking at it, just briefly, I will say that you, Yvette, are a Scorpio 9 person. This is the same day as oh boy, her name escapes me now. She played Carmen Jones, and they did a background. But anyway, Dorothy Dandridge, thank you. Anyway, it tells me you're very strong will, very determined. You don't take orders well. You tend to attract men in uniform, I would say, at some point along your life, military, construction, law enforcement, or whatever. But you're very forceful. But this particular year says you're in a 9 personal year. So since your personal year number is matching your date of birth, it could be either a year of fulfillment, or B, a year of terminations, and also C, a year where you begin to put some traveling under your belt. But I know this, whoever you are, you don't take orders well, and they don't want to hear the truth. They shouldn't come to you. Hood mistake.
Okay, so you probably settled into retirement, but the reality of your chart is that you should consistently work. Now, the work that you should be doing at this stage is more reference to your spiritual understanding or your cosmic light. You have the sun conjunct Neptune, opposed Jupiter. So these are all energies that reference you to always be in a space of teaching and healing and assisting people. And I see you as somebody who should be seen. You are in your wise years. So your wise years are just as important as your maiden years, as your mother years. And you are just the person that needs to be seen, the person that needs to be out there. People need to see your beauty. People need to see your grace, your help, and your health. And do not hide your gifts from people because you are needed, you are necessary. Um, don't ever think of the word old or retirement. These are words that you need to retire from the dictionary and be in the spirit of the cosmos, be in the same age as the universe, right? This is who you are,
And you
and
know,
always share your gifts.
what's interesting now that you speak on the hood mystic, in our culture, age was never the issue.
Mhm.
In fact, the older we got, the more respected we got.
That's
Not
that's
now.
what we need. That's what we need so bad, Lloyd.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was just respect, man. It was
We
simple.
need that
Now
so
you hear
bad.
about here in New York, some teenagers stabbed an 83-year-old man. Where in our former days, our original days, that would have never been thought of. And in
Right,
fact, we would have gave all due respect and due diligence to that person. In the
right.
meantime, though, Shay says an interesting question: how do you do chart verification, and what does that mean for
I
those
have
who
no
don't
idea.
understand?
Yeah, I have no idea what she's referencing. Chart verification. I apologize. I don't
Okay.
know what
Well,
she
but you
means.
ain't expect to know everything. Come on, man. I mean, let's keep it real. Who knows
Yeah,
everything?
this is one that escapes me, Lloyd,
Okay,
for
good.
sure,
Well, maybe she can explain it more.
for sure.
Okay, Stephen E. He is born on the 17th of November. Wow, Scorpios. The moon is in Scorpio, I do believe. Still,
Mhm.
November 17th, 1976. So while he's looking that up, Hood Mystic is looking up. I'll say this, Stephen, you are a water sign with an earth number, which means you have a nurturing disposition. Your most important numbers are the 8, 9, and 6, which means Saturday, followed by Tuesdays and Fridays are always your best days to make your major decisions. Although you tend to be misunderstood, I would say if a person really takes the time to get to know you, they will find that you're warm, loyal, very dependable, and it just take time to get to know. Hood Mystic?
For sure. And it's you have kind of the same resonance as the young lady who just was up. Your sun is opposed Jupiter as well, meaning that it's not a point where you rest on your laurels. Maybe you're having mental health issues. It's very important to deal with those mental health issues because once you clear what you've been experiencing, the truth of you will rise up like the phoenix out of the ashes. It's we all have a calling and we all have a purpose. And maybe if you've been in like the same environment, same location for a long time, maybe this seems like a year for you to think about relocating to allow that phoenix to rise up from the ashes, because nobody is supposed to stay in the same place forever. So be mindful of that, and be mindful to think about different places that you want to go to, places that resonate with your spirit this year. But yeah, mental health, I can't stress that enough, because if you don't address this, you're doing yourself the hugest disservice, because once you clear that mental health boundary or hurdle, your sun opposed Jupiter, it just is just like so, it shines so bright, but you might not understand it because life is very difficult for you. But life is not like beating you up, is really teaching you a lot. And how much do you deal with it? How much do you process it to have like a clean slate? So I don't know if you ever heard about like ayahuasca or going on a spiritual retreat. Make sure you do that at least one time in your life, because that is probably going to be that factory reset that you need to get your mind right.
Wouldn't you say it's like how you look at your glass of life, whether half empty or half full?
Yeah, for sure. And especially for spiritual beings that have a purpose or a calling, we could think so much that our life is just so horrible and nothing good can happen for us. But the reality is our mindset
Yep.
that is
Yep.
creating that reality for us. So my biggest thing is clarity, and allowing spirit to speak to you and listen and receive, because we think we know so much, right?
Yeah.
And that's usually going to be our biggest barrier, especially when we talk about spirituality, because spirituality exists above and beyond our mind. That's why we can't pontificate so much and speak so much, because we can't actually fathom how our heart beats and how our blood goes through our body and our neurons is sending. We can't explain that. We just
Mm-mm.
exist in that, and grateful for it. So a lot of it is clarity and gratitude. And if you could adopt these principles, for you, that Jupiter Sun opposition is really what you're going to stand on a lot through the rest of your life.
Good. Now, what happens in a case like Stone, where she just gives a month and day, or this person gives a month and day, but don't give a year?
That would be for you, Lloyd. You know,
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
it. That's it
numerology right
there.
there. It's
No,
not,
it's
I
one
can
of
do
the
the
reasons
astrology.
why I got into numerology. No, because I would do charts,
Uh-huh.
and the person would say, "Well, I'm born 7:53 p.m." and I bring the chart back to them. Lo and behold, they found their chart and they born at 7:53 a.m.
Oh
You
man,
and I know that 12-hour shift.
ruined the whole chart.
So once I came across numerology, oh boy, what a
Mhm.
difference. So in
Yeah,
this case, Stone, you are an earth sign with an air number, which means practical and logical at the same time in your quest for things. This particular year, you're in a seven personal year, which is get right within yourself to begin to question why you do the things you do, and don't chase after what you want, but magnetize it to you instead. The good thing about your birthday as a Taurus 5 person, you will always be blessed to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. And when you were young, you were old. And as you got older, done if you didn't become younger. All right, let's see what we got here.
she put her birthday. I could look. I'm looking it up right now. I could tap into
Oh,
it real
oh,
quick.
and she even put her time at 10:51. I
Yeah, she put her
anyone that
time
can
and
say that too.
everything. She ready to go. So yeah. So stone. I'm gonna look at it real quick. Yeah, it's you are an 11th house dominant person, 10th house dominant person. So you might spend a lot of time in the family household, family structure, family understanding. But ultimately, it's like a person that's leaving off to go to college one day. You know, you love your family, you love your mom, you love your dad, you love your significant other, but your calling is out in the world. And this energy is heightened right now. And when I mean heightened, that you're supported in these endeavors. Do not spread your wings, right? Always think to spread your wings. Think about networking. Your network is your net worth. And of course, like the overall theme for everybody is finding a stronger network of a stronger team. But for you, you really need to kind of double down on it, because you know that you know your gifts, you know your skills, you know what you're good at, you know what you can contribute. So you can't contribute to nobody or no one. You need to find people that are willing to receive what you have to offer, so you can grow and be your best self within your collective. Don't think that your best self is within yourself, because you'll be doing yourself a huge disservice of how great you can be once you find your team. And you're really young too, so allow yourself to grow and develop.
Yeah, I mean, and that does not happen overnight. That is a life process.
For
You
sure.
know, and my mother told me I would get my turn, but at the time when she said it, I had no clue what that woman was talking about. Okay, I got it now though.
Ashe.
This chill lock, their birthday is April the 9th. They just had a birthday, Paul Robeson's birthday. Anyway, they're born in 1988. They didn't give a time, although while you're looking that up, I'll say that you are a fire sign with a fire number, which means passionate, but at the same time, since Aries can be very assertive and nines can be very assertive, and then you happen to be in a two personal year this year, which requires patience on your part. This year will be a challenge. Real talk, as they say, keeping it real. I think that will be confirmed. But the fact that you going through a very slow moving thing, and maybe it's a reason to slow you down a bit so you can take in more of the view as you go so past things just whiz past you in life that are very significant that you wish you'd have slowed it down a bit. What say you, Hood
Right.
Mystic?
It seems as though, however strong you grasp your sense of self, is going to either be your make or break. Meaning that if you view yourself in this strong, fixed way, and you're not able to change or reinvent yourself, it's some strong Uranian energy. Uranus is the planet of awakeners. And when you think of awakening, you're talking about dormant cells within your DNA. So the assumption of who you are is usually played against you. So my advice to you is not to imagine that you know this person that you are internally. This person that you are should be awakened. So I'll suggest things like yoga, right? As a man, we never think to do yoga, right? But it actually activates our kundalini and activates those dormant cells within our DNA to get us in our true state of mind. And usually we need a catalyst. So that's why I'm suggesting Kundalini yoga. I'm suggesting doing something that is specific to awakening the dormant cells within your DNA to awaken you to your true self as you move through this 2023 with this fire of this Uranus sextile your ascendant, which is giving you the opportunity to grow and develop. Is not, it's just going to be like, all right, all you got to do is just wake up and you're going to be awakened, right? That's not what it's saying. It's saying you're going to have to do something, but be specific and be purposeful about the inner world, and not be so fixed on the past and who you think you are, because there is more to you than you even imagine.
That's great. Now we got this one. This person is Slim Diesel, and they're born July the 30th of 1981, which makes them a Leo 3 person. So in my book, while Hood Mystic is looking up the basic information on these ephemeris or whatever, is that you are a fire sign with a fire number, and it simply means that you are a person of drive, ambition, a proactive mindset, and sometimes you can symbolically burn the place down that people think you're overbearing, over pushing, but you get the job done. One of the beauties of your particular birthday, and probably if you looked at what you've accomplished since you were born in 1981 up until the present, whatever you have accomplished has been a result as of somebody who says you cannot do this and you cannot do that. And your mindset says, watch and see what I'm going to do. And
Hmm.
then they should have known anyway, because you're Leo. All they had to do is just read just a general description. All the first principles of landing on the moon, reaching the North Pole, the first African American president, the first African American to win the Super Bowl from the Washington Redskins, uh, Doug Williams, I think his name is, all Leos without question. By the way, your lucky numbers are the 3, 1, and 4, and Thursdays and Sundays, followed by Tuesday. All fire days are your best days.
Hmm. This is your money year. This is the time where you really tap into your birth Pluto, which is in the sign in the energy of extreme wealth. So this seed is something that is developing and growing. Like Lloyd said earlier, these things do not happen overnight. This thing has actually taken 40 years to develop. And they say most men get their wealth in their 40s, in their
Yeah.
50s. So it's really, 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 really important when you think about your legacy, when you look at your family and you look at your future. You shouldn't be wasting time doing things that are not building and contributing to your legacy. And the rules apply to you as they apply to everybody. It's a teamwork makes the dream work mentality. So a part of this wealth is really trying to go into an area that you never really been into before, because you're so resourceful, because you're so tapped in, because you're so gifted, and people love you so much that you think that you can possibly do it alone. But boy, oh boy, that is not the ways to go about it. So in reference to your wealth, and if legacy is something that's really, really important to you, you begin to be the person that shows up for the collective, and you begin to explore and build up this part of you that maybe haven't been explored as much. And if you do so, just by building up strong people in your life, that seed that has been germinating under the surface is about to break surface real soon. And you're going to have your Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett moment. And that is very serious. So think about that, and utilize your support group and your network to realize your dreams.
You know what's amazing is when I did the personal year of this person, July the 30th, they are entering this year in an 8 personal year, which deals with money, power, authority, executive achievement, aiming for the sun, doing things on a very grand scale. So it's so amazing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
this one is from Sister Tamika Turner. She is she says, P, she's very specific. She didn't give the location of the birthday, but she says she's born September the 7th, 1974 at 5:17 a.m., which means wouldn't her son be in the first house, I think? Uh,
Man, Lloyd, you are the man. How do you do that? We gotta have a 1-on-1 talk. You do that so beautifully, man. That is just so cool how you do that. It always amazes me, man. I couldn't wait till you did it. You finally did it. All you gotta do is give him a birth time, boy. He called it that,
anyway, she's an earth sign with a water number, which means nurturing, uh, very intuitive. And it's interesting. The sign for Virgo is I analyze, and the nature of the theme for number 7 is I analyze. So when you got an analyze sign with an analyze number, if people say, Tamika, why you ask all those questions, you really can't help yourself, dear. So don't even worry about it. Your lucky numbers are the 7, 2, and 5, and Mondays and Wednesdays. And in the mind way, Fridays are always your best days.
man. So yes, I look at this woman as a Neptunian, and this is spiritual development. And your Neptune is conjunct your North Node. So if ever you get to a point where the money isn't enough, the house isn't enough, the car isn't enough, taking your grandchildren out to fancy restaurants isn't enough, well, you would have to refer to your Neptune conjunct North Node, which is saying in the future, I will be somebody who either teaches or lives by my spiritual guidance. And this is a big step, but we're talking about fulfillment. We're talking about the other side of the yang. And you are extremely dominant when it comes to feminine principles and feminine understandings. If you are successful at work, you will probably be 10 times more successful in psychic abilities. And what Lloyd said, you have a son in the first house. And so what that means is these are people that would like to be seen or need to be seen. And I view that as like a counselor or a therapist or a healer or a reader or somebody who is seen by people and looked at as a healer or somebody who can connect to them on the emotional level. And this is what you're good at. And one level is to do it for you because you're bored or you just need something to do. But the level that I'm looking at it from is that people need you. Your tribe needs you. And hopefully you show up for your tribe and don't think that because you got the creature comforts that all is well. Who you show up for matters as well in the whole grand scheme of things, the yin and the yang. And the yang is what we're actually talking about, the dark feminine side.
Okay, this one is from Africa Forever. Greetings, Big Brother Lloyd and family. They're born on August the 7th of 1982 at 12:59 a.m. in the morning. So while he's doing that, you are a fire sign with a water number. It means you are very intuitive. That's the seven of your nature, yet very passionate. Another person that exhibits this is Angela Bassett. She is a Leo 7-2, but she's born on the 16th, but 1 + 6 is still 7. So therefore, you bring that passion, intuitiveness. And since sevens normally indicates people who have this kind of strongly marked individuality, this way of liking to think and reason for themselves, and then being a Leo too, that brings that kind of power and punch to the flavor of the game, I would say that this is your year. And by the way, you have four numbers, which is very rare. About 95% of the people have three numbers. You got four. They are the 7, 2, 1, and 4 in that order. Anything out of that sequence, you won't get the grand prize. So it's 72, 14. Those are your numbers, which means your best days are on Sundays and Mondays more than anything else. But that's it.
Oh, yeah. So the main thing that pops up for me in your chart is this Venus transit, and this Venus opposes your Uranus. And this is really tapped into your ancestors. So it feels like grandchildren or children or younger people in your family that need support. There could be something, it could be my example to this is you had a talent when you were a child. That talent wasn't nurtured and cultivated, and you developed an understanding of what is needed for the youth. If you could create some time and space for developing children, grandchildren, young people in your family. We're talking about your bloodline, we're talking about ancestors. This is a part of your story, this is a part of your deep love. And we are connected to people, and who we help is a part of our stories. You never seen a great person that existed in life that did not have somebody who was specific to making sure that they became great. Right. So you play that role, you play that position this year, and it's the same thing. It's symbiotic. As you help others, you will be helped from the ancestor realm. But do not forsake the youth within your family, because you weren't forsaken by it's like a string. It's like a string thing. And this is kind of developing into something that could be great. We're talking like NBA pop star, high level kid that you're working with. So invest the time and energy into your ancestors, meaning the children, not the will always pour water and do offerings to your ancestors, but your ancestors come through as the children in your family.
I smile came to my face because I remember as a little boy to see the adults pour libation to the boys
Gosh,
upstate. Little vino to the
gosh.
ground. You
Mhm.
know, and none of that is gone. All of that's gone, man. Nobody don't
You,
talk about that
you
for
know,
nobody.
I never even heard nobody say, "Man, let's pour a little something out for the homies." Ever since the
No,
'90s,
brother, when
man.
I was a kid, that's what the adults would do.
Oh.
The brothers on the street with the wine bottles and whatnot, they always poured a little something to the boys upstate.
Man,
That was how they put
goodness
it. Okay.
gracious.
So these
Yeah,
are kind of lost arts that we do. And I want to
for
thank the
sure.
man for the donation he made. And he's born on May the 24th of 86. So that makes him a Gemini 6 person, which is air and earth, which means logical and practical at the same time. And it means that in one way you can be swift, but because you are 6, that slows it down. 2 + 4 is 6. It modifies it brings it down. It be kind of hit the brakes. So therefore, you wouldn't be a kind of a fleety type of Gemini or an impulsive type of Gemini, which is some of the stereotypes given to this sign, but more a person who is very grounded, very rock steady, who very takes their time for the most part. And the fact that you even born in 1986, which adds up to 24, which is a 6 in and of itself, and you're born on the 24th, tells me that probably the rest of your way you definitely have a look before you leap attitude. Your best numbers are always the 6, 5, and 9, and your best days are always on a Friday, followed by a Wednesday, followed by a Tuesday. Optimistic?
So is you have a real interesting moon conjunct Saturn. So I would say in this aspect, this could be a relationship to specific to your wife or girlfriend, or even deeper, mother, sister. But your relationships to women are very important for your overall balance of life. And some people are might live alone, but this might not, this isn't you. So if you find yourself single and you're looking for a particular helpmate or a particular partner, this is actually the year. What I would say, as I was speaking in the last conversation, as Lloyd was saying, rather, pouring libations, doing spiritual work, understanding that partnership is more tied into the ancestors, more tied into the spirits. And partnership is a thing. And for you, is more of an intimate partnership, kind of opening the doors to this and allowing spiritual love, even if you do have a relationship that is on the mundane level. Now it's time to open up to the purpose of your relationship, incorporating the ancestors, because in that relationship, you really do become one. And this is kind of like a soulmate, soul tie type of energy that you're getting ushered into. So this year, open your eyes and look, and keep your mind open for love, because it's not something that is to hold you down or hold you up. Talking about a spark, we're talking about somebody that looks at you and sees you as themselves, and vice versa. This is real, true companionship, devotion, and coming together. And because the south node is conjunct your Pluto in the sign of Libra, it is kind of indicating that your ancestors are really opening up that portal for you for deep love and deep companionship.
Well, speaking about deep love and companionship, you're a deep brother. How can people be able to get in touch with you for a deep reading?
Oh yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
we're gonna put that on the banner. Good. I just
Yeah,
want
of
to check.
course.
Now, this one is from No Go 21. She says, "Good evening, gentlemen. Please read me. I am single and want a mate. But what if you have blockages that keep you from getting a mate?" She's born on 12 to 1967. Well, I'm going to answer this way while you're looking that up. You got the well, for me, the blockage is a state of mind, as far as I'm concerned. But to get a mate, I'll say this. First of all, when I did when I looked at your birthday, you are a fire sign with a water number, which may explain some of the contradictions of fire versus water, water versus fire. So that may explain some of it. There's blockages to me more so than a state of mind. So, and especially this year, because this is the year of the seven, which governs the law of attraction. So, if you're still holding on that I have blockages, it will be a self fulfilled manifestation. And you will find at the end of the year, you will be no further along than you were now. So, instead, do this. Your key numbers are the 2, 7, and 3. Your best days are Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And it means your best times of the year are always in March, May, July, October, and December. So, one, look for the mates coming out of one of those 5 months: March, May, July, October, and December. And look for them for the mental connections born on the 2nd to 3rd to 7th, the 11th to 12th to 16th, the 20th, 21st, 25th, 29th, and 30th of the month. Does this?
And you have a grand trine opening up, so this is something that you either resonates with you or don't. If it resonates with you, open your mind to it. But working with Oshun would be great for you. Sometimes when we want things to happen for us, we could begin to understand spiritual things, internally, intrinsically, and understand it for ourselves, because we seek a mate and we seek love. Well, Oshun is one of the goddesses that will help you develop the love within yourself to become that magnet or attractive force. Because your Venus is conjunct your North Node, I feel like you may be a, a part of her tribe, for lack of a better words. And because the love is not present in your life and the desire is there, that indicates to me that the goddess is wishing to be recognized. It's one thing to say, I'm alone, I ain't got no mate, and I'm perfectly fine because I just got my cats and I'm just good. But when we have deep love and we don't know what to turn, and we imagine that there's blocks, what Lloyd said, which is a state of mind, is because we haven't really wrapped our mind around Oshun the goddess of love, right? So what could you begin to do? Research, watch videos, just understand it and only do things that you feel comfortable with doing. And as you work through your comfort zone and open yourself to the love of the goddess, this will be a year that you will understand that love has always been available to you. You embody love, and your love energy is so strong. But hopefully you spend time meditating and focusing and recognizing that, okay, money is great, but that's not what you should focus on in the realms of love and compassion, right? It should be towards the opposite sex. And as you begin to love that divine masculine counterpart at an energetic level, it'll materialize in the real world for you. Because you are such a powerful goddess and you hold such a strong resonance of love, it's very important that you begin to open those doors internally.
I like how you break that down. This is a donation. Thanks for Elite Numite. They are born December the 14th of 1998 in Florida at 5 p.m. All righty. So I'll put it like this. You are a fire sign with an air number, which are elements very complementary to one another. It does indicate that you will always have a youthful quality, a youthful attitude, as well as a youthful appearance about yourself, regardless. And although you're still born in 1998, but I'm talking about even up the road, you will find that all of a sudden that people who are younger than you at that time will find you very, very interesting to want to be involved with you in some way. And so, with all this fire and air activities, it tells me a lot of movement, a lot of versatility. Variety is very important. And the secret to holding on to you is to give you some breathing space. And by the way, your key or important numbers are the 5, 6, and 3, while Wednesdays and Fridays and Thursdays are your best days in that order. Not Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but Wednesday first, Friday second, Thursday third.
And I would say that one of your biggest strengths is the power of visualization. And one of the things that would benefit you the most through that visualization is creating and starting that business. The time is now, right? It's time to organize the team. It's time to, even if it's you and your kid or you and your baby mama, don't matter. All right. It's time to start and build the team and get to going. Drive around the city and look at all of the businesses around you and visualize you being in the same spot as the people around you. It's time to elevate and understand who you are as a spiritual being, as an owner, as a mover, as a shaker, but it's more tied into what you visualize because there's a lot of trauma there. There's a lot of horror stories and, woe is me things of that nature. But these are to build your character. This is not for you to constantly visualize and think about day in and day out. It's really important that you begin to visualize your future. What does it look like? How many people are on your team? And what do you need to do step by step by step by step to manifest it? And, whether you just love your job so much, you just want to keep it and that's cool. But the ancestors is like, and everybody knows that it's time for you to stand on your thing and do your business. And as the energy, the sun, Jupiter, and Chiron is going to conjunct your Saturn, like, oh yeah, it's time to get to going. It's time to get to moving. So visualize it if you can't see it. And
All right.
if you can't see it clearly, make it up.
Okay, good. And now we have this person, Anifa Wangara. She says, please read me. She's 424, so her birthday's coming up in a matter of days of 1995. She says, will help her with clarity. So I'll say this, Anifa, it's interesting that you happen to be born on the 4th month on a master number day. Um, and it indicates very visionary, very different, very unique in and of itself. You being in the first stages of a Taurus and then having an air number brings about almost a kind of a squaring aspect as an astrological way of saying it in your chart to a degree, but you do like to be different. And it does indicate that this particular year is your year where you're making some adjustments. In fact, it does suggest since the latter part of last year through now, you are in the process of a makeover, whether it's your hair, your appearance, your weight, your wardrobe, something of that nature, enrolling in school, finishing up school. But all of these are the things. From my vantage point, I would say you are actually a genius. But your key numbers are the 4, 1, and 5, and your best days are always on a Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday.
I was second what you just said, Lloyd, about being a genius. And with clarity is usually having a bunch of people around you that are obstructing your clarity. You have this moon, Uranus, Neptune energy in the area of Capricorn, where it's very important that I see three goddesses on the top of a mountain ushering you up. So, and then I see your friends and your social group like, hey, girl, let's go out and have a good time. So you got to come to the realization that, am I going to work with the goddesses? Am I going to work into my spiritual purpose? Or am I going to, kick it and have fun with my friends? I'm not telling you what's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. But in reference to clarity, your clarity comes from the spiritual world, because not only are you a genius, you are a leader. And as a leader, you have to kind of go into yourself, go into some form of sabbatical. And then once you self realize and self actualize, you'll be able to have all the clarity in the world. But it's hard to have clarity and be a people pleaser at the same time. So
You,
make a decision.
you know what's interesting? Her birthday is also the birthday of Kathy Hughes, the
Hmm.
first African American woman to own Radio One. She
Mm,
now owns Radio TV One. Okay,
can't
so I
make
mean,
it up.
it's a genius. I used to be on her show in DC, where
Can't make it
everybody would
up.
just stand in the window and just look at while she would have me on the guest broadcasting.
Amazing.
So it is amazing. It is amazing. Now we're at the hour, and we're not going to stop now. We're going to go, but we're going to take a break for the brother, because we need to know, my man, how to get in touch with you. And also, we're going to pause to talk about, and people don't know that you wrote a number of books, my brother. But first of all, let's talk about this banner. Let's talk about how to get in touch with you later on. First of all, there's Hood Mystic. He's the astrologer, lecturer, author, and a wonderful human being, and a great dad for all the right reasons. I know. Thank you. His email is hoodmystic@gmail.com. His contact. And this is how people can call you to set up appointments and whatnot for schedules.
You can text me because I don't necessarily always have my phone available. So text message. If you call me and my phone's on do not disturb, it might seem like I'm avoiding your call. It's just that I might be doing
Don't take
stuff.
it personal. The man is
Yeah.
busy. If you knew what I knew, the man is busy.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very busy.
So
So
his number
yeah,
is
text me.
248-434-7312. That's 248-434-7312. He has two websites, hoodmystic.com. I was on it today. Thank you. And then Colombian Exchange, no EX, but exchange.com. And his IG and Facebook is Hood Mystic. That's what I was on today, looking at. I was rambling all through your IG. I was the stalker for a moment.
It's
And his
all
cash
good.
app, and because he has a nice family. Oh, and don't forget, this brother, like about 90% of the people that have been guests on this show, does this on faith. Like you said, he was a truck driver. Probably when you was driving your truck, if somebody says, "Man, you're gonna cut that truck loose and be driving astrology and people to the stars,"
I
you
would
would
have told
probably.
them they crazy. You would. Why would I give up all of this money to be doing this? And yeah,
And I was the worst math student. So if somebody said, "Lloyd, your career would be a numerologist," I said, "Man, you need to take another guess, okay?" But
goodness
you never know
gracious,
how things go. But
never.
please, this man has a beautiful family, and dollar sign Hood Mystic 38. Show some love. Now, I saw some of y'all donate to the show. Let's donate to this brother here, all right? And this is very important. I'll put the banner up later. But now we're going to get into some other things that people don't know about you. Okay, let's do this first, because I don't want to block things up. Here we go. One thing when you do a show by yourself, man, it's like,
You doing it so well, man. You
well, after you, man, my lights went out, TV. I mean, listen, it's been like help. So anyway, you wrote, believe it or not, a number of books, and this is one of your first books.
yeah, that
I
was one of
like
the
that.
first books.
Manipulating the Matrix. That sounds so cool. What was that about?
Well, this is This book is not available. This is going to be the last book. It's been a continuation because every year we update it. So now we have the 2023 edition, and it's a moon journal, man, because in reference to manifesting and keeping track with the moon cycles, we get sidetracked, you know. So instead of having like trying to use your head, I have a little journal and workbook, and I work through it, and it helps. I manifested a home, you know, man of doing the moon cycles, you know, and things of that nature. So, you know, if you want things, you can have things, and the moon is a wonderful, powerful tool. I'm not the only person who's done it. You know, a lot of people have done the same thing. So I'm just providing a resource to help people follow the moon cycles and guide
And,
them to
and I'll say
manifestations.
this as a group, because I've dealt with real estate developers
Hmm.
in the Asian community, they don't move in any time. They move in during certain phases of the moon. And that's why I noticed that the Chinese New Year always starts under the sign of Aquarius in the new moon. So
Facts,
to say that what it is, okay?
for
So anyway,
sure.
what about this one?
This is Chakra Nova, man. This is, you know, we see so much about chakras online. And so I just wanted a simple book to help people understand the glands in our human body, our endocrine system, activating these latent technologies within ourselves through Kundalini yoga techniques. It's very simple, easy to read, but it's all about you, right? Because the tagline is "You are the book." As you activate your chakras, you know, I wasn't always like this, right? But doing the chakra work, it's like a second intelligence has awoken up inside of me, and this is what I share with people every single day, that, you know, spirituality is real, but it's within you, and it's through actively working through your chakras and understanding them. So this is the literature.
And this one?
A simple way to understand astrology. I read this book every day to when I'm trying to get a grasp or a understanding of astrology. It's $11. I feel like it's the best $11 you can spend because the information in here is timeless.
Well, when you're dealing with the cosmic forces like that, it'll always be timeless. And
For
what about
sure.
this one?
This is a journal. This is a workbook to help you understand your chart. You know, we can look online, Google stuff, and try to get information about our charts. But how do we know what the person is talking about even makes sense? So I give you a lot of keywords, a lot of basic root understandings, so you can begin to understand your chart for yourself. It's not expensive. You know, to get a reading from me is going to be about $100, but you know, you can spend $10, and it might take a little bit more time, but I would rather you understand it for yourself, even me telling you your chart, right? Because I'm not every day in your life, right? You are.
Yeah,
So you would
yeah.
have a deeper understanding of what these things mean to you intrinsically.
You know, that's interesting because I have this attitude too that like, okay, you want to pay me for a reading, but all you gotta do is invest $10 for the book, and you got all that stuff right there. A lot
Hey,
of
I'm
people
trying to
like to
tell
think
him. I'm
so
trying
it's
to
great.
tell him.
It's great for business in that sense. You know what I'm saying?
But I ain't going to complain. If you want to get a reading, you know, it's all good. You know, I'm not saying don't get a reading, but I'm just letting you know
Now
it's better when you do it for yourself.
this is the one that just came out 2 months ago. This
Correct.
is what
This
we just
is
talked about.
manipulating the matrix, and this is the 2023 form. So if you want to get an updated version on the new moons, full moons, and we're following the lunar moon calendar, so you'll get some new information that you've never heard before in reference to ancient indigenous understandings, because you know our ancestors, they was understanding this stuff whether we know it or not. So you know, just sharing that information and helping us manifest some things and working with the moon.
And this is a companion piece to the book, right?
Correct. This has just been, this was my love project. Everything that I've been studying over the past 2 years, I just didn't want to just have it be something that I studied. I wanted to kind of have like a little time capsule, just to say, you know, this is what I've been working on, and just sharing the information. So it's about a 300-page reference book. It has a glossary, and it's about shadow work, chakras, astrology, like all of the things that I've been studying over these past couple of years. I just made it a book, mainly for my children. Maybe one day that they might say, you know, my dad's kind of cool. He wrote books and stuff like that.
Well, you cool anyway, brother.
I try,
Okay.
I
Now,
try.
let me ask you this. For the layperson to understand, like us in the metaphysical community, what do you mean by shadow work? What's your
Shadow
definition of shadow work?
My definition of shadow work is we are responsible for our lives, and when we do not take responsibility for that, we suppress it in very subtle ways. Over time, it becomes overwhelming, all of the things that we suppress. So shadow work is allowing us to peel back that curtain and see the things that we suppress, look at it differently, and think about it differently. So usually when we're mad at our wife, we never think, maybe it's something within me that needs to change. We can be so hard-headed and you didn't wash the dishes and you didn't do this and you didn't do that. Shadow work is taking accountability because she's not angry, I'm angry. Why am I angry? Can't be because she's not washing the dishes, because even if she wasn't washing the dishes, if I'm conscious, then I'll just wash the dishes then, right? you know
Mhm.
because that's my wife. She probably got other things to do. So so we can get so angry at people, and that misplaced anger and that misplaced darkness is areas within our consciousness that we haven't went through. Shadow work is intensive. Shadow work is difficult, but it is something that can be done and is easy to do, because when we're just mad at things or we're upset, this is where we need to do shadow work at. It's not something you do all the time, but when we are irrationally angry, this is opportunities for us to explain it. But the book goes into many different things. It's many
Mhm.
different things like positive shadow and
Yeah.
things like that. So,
But there's also for those who may so to be there's a balance. This also explains for women who are into shadow work and need something done too, that
oh
they might
yeah,
be mad at their mates also as against. Why is it nowadays that nobody want to take responsibility for nothing? I wasn't raised like that, man.
no, me neither.
What's up with that?
I even was raised around people who went to like marriage counselors, right? I'd never hear about that nowadays. If it's a problem in the relationship, it's just a problem in the relationship. And it's like, well, can you get some help? Can you get a third party to do y'all want to work it out? And it just seems as though people are just fine with that negative reaction. And shadow work is for people who just don't want to live in that space where you're constantly triggered and angry over things, because you, like Lloyd said, I didn't grow up in a time like that.
No,
We resolved our issues.
no, we were always straight ahead. All
Hmm.
right, let's go back to a couple
Oh, I'm
of
here. I'm here.
good, good. We got this person. Thanks for your donation. This just came in, Theo A. And they're born May 23rd, 1980. They have been seeing 606 for 10 years. Well, okay. Now, in my book, um, while he's looking up the ephemeris, or they're looking at the aspects, in my book, Numbers in You, there is a chapter I have called Numerology and Thought Reading, which means sometimes we see a certain number. Nowadays, you saw this 10 years ago, or for the last 10 years, nowadays they call this angel numbers. Okay. Somebody came up with this thing. It just simply means numbers that you see all the time on a license plate or a clock or something like that. But what it tells me is that because there are sixes, it means there's something that's dealing with responsibilities, either avoided or needs to be adjusted or handled in a way. It also indicates that since it does suggest 606, that there could be a Taurus or Libra involved, as well as someone born on the 6th, the 15th, the 24th. But because it adds up to a 12, which denotes the victim or the sacrifice for the plans and intrigues of others, it simply means you do have to be careful of people taking advantage of you. Although you always seem to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. Okay.
So I would look at 606 because it's also, I don't know if you're in a relationship or outside of a relationship. Your chart is definitely a chart for relationships or companionships. So 606 sounds a lot like SOS. Or what is SOS? SOS is
Yes.
a call for help. What would that call for help be? Looking at your chart and all these energies and Leo, that is a very sexual person that might be conditioned to work hard, make a lot of money, be a provider, things of that nature, but not really opening the idea to the Kama Sutra, the Yab Yum, and the ancient understandings of sex and sex magic and sex understanding. One of the most ancient religions is the religion of sex. So this is a to me, and I could be completely off, but I'm just looking at the chart and I'm seeing 606, and it's like somebody is just trying to tell you, like, you need to understand sexual energy. It shouldn't be something that you should suppress and close off and be so stringent and hard, because it could open you up to the divine. Some people find God through sex, right? And your chart is probably one of those people. You could be around people that want to meditate all day but don't want to talk about sex understanding, and that could be a huge disservice to your spiritual development and understanding.
All right, let's do Miss Brown. She's born October 13th, 1967, about love and career. And while you're looking up those aspects in her chart, I can tell you, Miss Brown, that you are a Libra 4 person, which means super sensitive. You will forgive, but you won't forget. So anybody that crosses you, that's the kind of thing going. And yet you're very sensitive, very easily wounded in your feelings. So people think that you mask these things, but if they knew deep down inside this invisible shield that you have, how you be feeling by yourself. It also indicates, speaking by yourself, that yes, Libra is an outgoing sign, but 4 is a very private, laid back number. So there's a side of you when you're out and about, you do very well, but when you come home and lock the door, unless it's Amazon, FedEx, United Parcel, they ain't coming in if you got your way about it. Your numbers are the 4, 1, and 5, and Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday. Excuse me, Sunday, Monday, and Wednesdays are your best days. What say you about Miss Brown?
Yeah, definitely feel what you were saying about the isolation, is especially in the realms of love. Like, maybe the UPS man is going to be the lover of your life, but the reality is you would need to get out in social circles and mingle and converse with people that are potential suitors. And there are clubs, there are 30 and over clubs, there are environments where older mature people meet and mingle. If you're not putting yourself in those environments, you could be in a space of wishing for something that is going to be harder to manifest than if you were active in this pursuit. As far as career is concerned, I really look at this chart as something that you've never really thought about the thing that you love to make money. And so if you could actually begin to process it over these next 3 months, as far as career, you'll be developed this side project or this side hustle. Work it all of 2023, the start of 2024, the next lunar new year. This is where it could become a real business. But this is a passion project. Maybe you look at career as a person giving you a check, direct deposit, but your chart is saying open your mind to new ways of making money, finding ways and doing the things that you love that people appreciate.
That sounds so simple, incredibly simple. We have Angela, and thanks for your donation. She says, greetings. She missed the beginning, but she's born at 11:01. I mean, yeah, 11:01, 1973, and she's born at 12:59 a.m., which would put her somewhere around in the 10th house, wouldn't it? The sun, I believe.
We will see. You are, I don't doubt you at this point, Lloyd.
Okay. I mean, I don't. But I tell you this, you are a water sign with a fire number, and look at all those ones in your name 11111973. So all those ones indicates leadership abilities or leadership potentials or indicators. The point is, and like in all things, what we do or don't do with our gifts, our talents, our abilities, our skills, our mindsets, all of these things. But I can tell you this, you're strong will. You should have made an excellent lawyer, doctor, or scientist, or you've always stood your ground. People in relationships thought you bossy, but you know what you want and you will speak on it. Thank you. If
Mhm,
they don't want the truth, you're not the one to come to talk to.
mhm,
You're not mean about it. You're just honest. So
mhm.
your key numbers are the 149, and your best days are always on a Sunday and a Tuesday. These are your best days.
Definitely. And this is a chart of a woman, of a person who is very much in tune to her partner, which is kind of counterintuitive with the Mars energy that you carry, where you speak with this fire and you speak with this energy. And it could turn people off at a certain point. So learning how to soften the way that you speak and understanding the ways of which you are communicating and coming across, unless you want to come across fiery at all times. Just understanding your chart and understanding your energy is going to help you soften or ease some of the energy that you are carrying if marriage and these types of things are interested to you. A successful relationship is probably the key point to this chart, and I don't know how far you are away from that or how close you are to that. Even if you are in a current relationship, it's still more of a development. This is a like a pet project. It's like some people work at a job. This would be a chart of a person working at a relationship. And as you two experience bliss, that would be your world. So don't try to get the world. Try to get it within your relationship. Try to find bliss and truth through your relationships, and don't compare your life to others. Really find it within your yin and yang.
Okay, we're going to take this one and we're going to uh I got to make some announcements and then we'll get back. You will have the last say for the show. This is Nina V's, a general reading. She is March the 28th of 1963. A lot of fire signs came through today,
For
either
sure.
Sagittarians, Aries, Leos. Okay, but this way you are an Aries one person, but you're on the March side of Aries versus the April side of Aries, which is a totally different energy altogether. In your case, yours brings to the table creativity, imagination, expression, things of that nature, a positive spirit about you, probably raised or influenced by a third party in your life too, like a auntie or grandmother or bigger sister or somebody that was equally as important as your mom and dad in your life and your upbringing. Your numbers are the 1, 4, and 9, which means you do not take orders well. So, as an Aries and a number one on top of that, being a fire sign with a fire number, I would say at some point you've definitely held some area of career responsibilities, a manager, director, supervisor, head of department. And even if you didn't have a title, they say, you see Nina over there? I mean, don't go mess with her. Okay.
Hmm.
They had that much sense. All right.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's for sure. Neptune is sextiling your nodes right now. So this is more related to your psychic abilities. Now, psychic abilities are very positive for people because they keep them out of a lot of trouble. They attract a lot of positivity in their life and just the overall good luck charm. So this year, I would really kind of focus in on psychic development, psychic abilities, even if it's strange, right? Going to the bookstore and buying a psychic book and reading it and practicing some of the techniques. This is that type of year for you because as you enhance your psychic abilities, it's the root or the start point of everything that happens in your life. You could fixate on one external thing, but to get it easier for you, which is to be real tapped in and tuned in to the goddess energy. You have this Pluto opposed Lilith energy really exciting your chart, really bringing you into this exciting new phase of your life. Now, is your mind open to that? Are you prepared for that? Sometimes people can get conditioned to just live in a regular, normal life and don't expect big changes, but that's not the case for you. If you wanted to travel to different countries and things of that nature, this is the time for you. So hopefully these are the things that are on your mind.
Okay, good. We're going to stop at this point. I do want to make some announcements. One announcement I want you on the screen with me is next Monday, I'm going to bring a very interesting young lady on. Um, do you know this lady?
She looks kind of familiar, Lloyd. I think if I seen her in person, it's hard to put a name with the face. I'm a face person. No, that's my beautiful and lovely wife.
This is his wife. His wife will be on Monday. So this is going to be like an extension, okay? I asked him to come on today, and I asked his beautiful wife. Let me tell you, Hood Mystic, when Mama Mystic was on, I mean, I think of all the females, hers ranked the highest, but she wasn't pulling no punches talking about them sisters.
Uh-uh.
And they being bored, they didn't like that, but that's
Uh-uh.
exactly why she's going to be back on again.
Ashe.
Mama Mystic. She's going to be on Monday. There's an extension of it, okay?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I do want to let you know that the show has been brought to you and sponsored by the STS Sisters of the Traveling Spread. And in fact, to get more information, go to stshealing.com. That's stshealing.com. They will be on a week from today, where Hood Mystic is sitting. So will this crew next Wednesday on the 19th of April. And I want to let you know that today is the last day my course is on sale. So please, please take advantage of that. All righty. And also, I want to let you know too. One of my proudest things is I now have an app out. It's called a Star 8. It's like a star in the heavens with the number 8, and it's downloaded. You can download it now. Go to astar8.com, astar8.com. Download it. Now, Android users, you can get it this time next week. It'll be available for the iPhone user, the iOS, or whatever they call it. So please be patient. This reflects decades and decades of what I've dedicated to this craft of astronumerology. And believe it or not, this is just scratching the surface of all the things I want to put into it, but I got to kind of move slow. But please tell me what you think. I'm open to criticisms. I have no problems with it at all. I like to grow. And this is my podcast. So if you miss shows, and by the way, Hood Mystic, with this dynamic conversation in my buddy that I had on Monday, Dominic Holmes, will be eventually featured on the podcast. So if you miss the shows, or if you don't want to do that and just listen at home, in bed, or in a car, stuff like that, you can. And I'm also proud to announce that my audiobook, My Numbers in You, which is my best-selling book, is now available in audiobook. Okay, so just go to lloyd-strayhorn.com. That's lloyd-strayhorn.com, and sign up and register for the book. And for those of you, the April newsletter is here. Today is only day 11, and we still got about 19 days or something like that left out. So please go. So working backwards, please sign up for the free monthly newsletter at my site, lloyd-strayhorn.com. Go to get the book to download if you like audiobooks, as my sister do, who loves it. She was one of the inspirations to it, a Leo self. That is lloyd-strayhorn.com. Also on the same site, lloyd-strayhorn.com. Also sign up and tune in to the podcast. I'm on Spreaker, Spotify, Audible, all these other things they call it. And again, please, one of my pride and joys, as all I do is please download the app and check it out for yourself. Let me know what you think, good, bad, or indifferent. I can take it. That's how I was raised. Everything ain't all rosy, okay? I know there's going to be somebody out there that's going to say this ain't that. This, let me know, okay? I have no problems with it. And today is the last day to get these 3 courses on sale. Not unless you want to wait till tomorrow and spend top dollar. And if you notice, the only time I promote these classes is when they're on sale. So obviously, it's not about the money. Is you having the knowledge, which is invaluable once you got it. And the beautiful Mama Mystic, that's going to be fun on Monday. I can't wait to get in. Well, she's going to get in your business, so y'all be prepared, folks. That's all I can say. All right, with that being said, my buddy, let's, what say you, Hood Mystic, before, what parting words would you like to share with the viewers?
I would say, man, don't isolate yourself. That's the biggest thing. It's the easiest thing for us to do in the world, but strive and try your best to figure out how to assist and help people. Because in my life, the only thing that gives me grace is the amount of people that I've helped throughout the years. That's really it. The creator, the intelligent design, source, God, whatever you call it, he's watching you help people or not help people, right? And then when you wonder why your life is the way it is, for good or for better, you either know you've helped people or you know you've helped yourself. And we just need to shake ourselves out of that energy. So I'm doing my best, and I hope that we could collectively do our best and strive to assist one another. If people did not help me, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now, Lloyd.
Yeah, and vice
You know,
versa. And before I go, that triggers one thing. When I had my radio show here in New York on WBLS, WLIB, a woman had called in at the time. She was elderly. She said how her son didn't visit anymore and how nobody visited her anymore. and she had this whole thing of being sorry and stuff. And then she said something as a sidebar. She says, it's almost as if she drifted. She said, yeah, and I remember when I was young, I was mean to old people. And I said, duh, there you go.
You don't
There
see
you
it.
go. So,
Yeah,
and she was very clear when she was young, she was mean to old people, and now it was her turn, and don't nobody care.
it's
So it's
crazy.
very, very careful what Hood Mystic is saying, folks. You got to be careful what you throw out there in this universe, because there is a boomerang effect, or karma, call it what you will. And
Mhm.
so you got to, and it don't cost nothing to be nice to another human being, not a penny.
Nothing.
Okay, so
Mhm.
just give from the heart, give selflessly. I know that sounds too complicated. You know that.
I know that. That's like rocket science, Lloyd.
Quantum physics. Okay,
Yes, yes.
thank you. No, thank you. Good morning. You
Yeah,
know.
good night.
So anyway, listen, man. I love you, buddy. Thank you
Love
so
you too,
so
man.
much.
Thank you.
I can't wait for the missus to be on. Well, she smokes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, ladies, y'all need to be here.
Have your
You guys,
thinking caps
you
on.
guys need to be here too to see her assessment of the women. Now, some of you ladies may not like it, but as a woman, she's coming from the side of truth. And if you knew her birthday like I did, none of y'all should be surprised. Okay. So
Right.
anyway, Hood Mystic, thank you, man. Bless you,
Man,
bless you.
thank you.
Thank you. It's been very nice. So,
Peace.
everybody, I want to thank you very, very much. Have a great weekend. At least in this part of the country, I understand the weather is going to be very nice. Wherever it is, I pray that all of y'all do well. There's a lot of craziness going on, but do not be distracted at all. And there is better life on the other side of things, believe it or not. The focus just seemed to be on what's negative rather than what's positive. But if my grandmother would say, you find what you look for. So if you're looking for some good, that's exactly what you'll find. All righty, everybody, you'll have a blessed day. Until then.
Peace.